Greatness. Why should you try and become great? I mean, for something that is so time consuming, life consuming, energy consuming, all consuming, why would, let's say, for example, Nietzsche say that even if you have basically, I'm paraphrasing, but if you're completely purposeless and you don't know exactly what to do, just set high and noble goals for yourself. Or someone like Jordan Peterson would just basically say, just basically draft out what you exactly want and make it pretty ambitious and just fucking aim at that. But why should you? And something that's really captivated me is the thought of why we're called towards greatness. Now, exactly, if you've seen a couple of my videos before, is that I really want to become great. I want to become, I don't want to say like memorable or legendary because that does seem a bit like I just want, I just want to be accepted or seen by other people. Thing, but there's also just like the personal aspect of it, like why you're so driven towards, like, let's say it's a bit vague and a bit cringe, but like greatness in that sense, and in like a personal sense and like a personal fulfillment sense. Why so? And why do other people also just drawn towards, like, when I say names like flipping Churchill, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Caesar, you immediately think of just greatness. Like these people are just completely in like a stratosphere in terms of just everything, right? And all their hard work, their temperaments, and their willpower, strength, all just boils down towards this single term, which is it's just greatness. It just emanates from them. Like you can just see their fucking aura type shit. And I was just thinking to myself, well, why are we so drawn towards it? And why are they even drawn towards, just going so deep into themselves to find this like fire? And that's what I found. It was exactly fire. And so I basically sort of like journaled, semi-journaled, wrote like a mini essay about greatness. And I couldn't quite encapsulate greatness into like definite, clear words, but I did somehow place it into like sort of like an analogy or like a metaphor. And I basically described greatness as like this. I was just about to say great, but that would be really funny even though. I want to describe greatness as exactly this blazing fire. Now imagine you're just completely cold, damn near naked, balls naked, whatever, and you're just stuck in the woods, and it's super dark. You can barely see anything, let alone yourself. You can't see yourself. It's just completely dark. You know you have arms and legs, but what good is it knowing that you have arms and legs if you can't even see them? You don't even know how you look, right? You can't see anything about yourself. The only thing that you can see is this glimmer of light far out in the distance, but it's super cold as well. So in your mind, there's two options. It's either you travel towards this glimmer of light, hoping to get warm, or you just freeze out in the cold. So let's say you do take the shot and you say, "Fuck it, let me just go towards this light because maybe then not only will I be warm enough, but I could also actually get to see what I fucking look like and not just stay in this flipping dark world." And so you travel towards the fire, right? And you get closer and you get closer, and it starts to get warm. And now you can settle, right? Because you can finally see just a bit, right? You see a bit of your arm, you see a bit of your body, your legs, and you can basically settle there. You can just say like, oh, okay, I can somewhat see myself, and it's somewhat warm here. I could just rest around here. But you look again, and you realize that, oh, there's a couple of people that are surrounding this fire, right? And you met a couple of other people, and you can't even see them really clearly. But everybody else is pretty much just satisfied here in this semi-cold, semi-hot sort of area. It's just really androgynous area, and you could keep going forward, or you could just settle here. And instead, you choose. Well, okay, let me just keep going forward. There's a couple of people. How are they able to just stand near this blazing fire? It's just fucking hot, right? But you're like, I'll just keep moving. The thing is, the more you get closer to the fire, the more you can see yourself. the more you start to realize, oh, well, this is what a hand looks like, this is what an arm looks like, this is what I look like. And once you get exactly near the fire, it might burn you, but you finally know who you are. And I think this, in a weird way, is exactly why greatness calls us, is because striving for something that is extremely ambitious, hard, difficult, and just great, right? Like people can just look and damn, this is great. It's gonna burn you alive for sure. But at least you light yourself up. You'll be able to see who you really are. And I think this is why people are just so captivated. Maybe for the external like money and stuff like that. But I think the real top men, they just doing it because they just really want to see how fucking far they could go, how much they can just push this gear. I remember Alex Amosi just speaking about it. It's just like it really isn't. It's just about like how hard you can actually flip and work, how many gears you can take this to, how far you can push down the accelerator, and just keep flipping moving. And that becomes what's fun, and that becomes what's really enjoyable. It's really when you get to see your actual character, who you actually are, and who you could become, the full potential realization, and keeping with like the fire analogy and stuff, is like the great men are the torch bearers of mankind. If you really think about people like Henry Ford and shit, bro, they just went to that fucking fire called greatness, took a fucking stick, lit that shit up, and just illuminated the fucking world, right? Now, of course, now I'm a bit lazy here on Henry Ford, but it's sort of like an example, right? And he just led, because you draw the fire and like everybody else just comes closer to you, right? Because they're drawn to, they don't have their own fire in their lives. Most people, I'm not gonna lie, because most people are average, right? They do settle for a life that didn't fully maximize their utmost potential. And that is sad, but it is the sad truth. And that's what I don't want myself or neither you to go through, is that you go through your entire life and you just like, flip, man, I could have done a bit more. And so this is the main part why I think you should aim towards becoming great, is because that fire is exactly what keeps you alive, what exactly keeps you keep moving and actually gives purpose to your life, and exactly might even give purpose to everybody else in your life as well. You know, that fire that you illuminate, maybe in the journey you make a lot of money, the financial freedom, you can financially free your family and all your relatives, and maybe the journey towards the fire just it illuminates you, not just like your own surroundings and view of the entire world, but illuminates you, and that's the main point. And you become this sort of like the torch bearer that lights the flippant world for mankind, and that's just amazing if you just think about it. And so I just boiled greatness down to like this great fire. And because the world actually is just dark, it's kind of unknown, and it's cold, it's like, why am I here? You just wish it ends. If you're very nihilistic and pessimistic about life in that sense. But if you are sort of, you don't really, maybe you're an atheist or whatever the sort, because if you are like a believer in like a god or supernatural and Christian, if you're Muslim or whatever the case may be, then more of course you can just always fall back on God, and that gives you the exact meaning that you'd want. But I'm Christian, by the way, so I could just do that. But like, there is something even not higher than that, but like, it's the calling aspect, right? It's like, okay, even if you're atheist, you could still. It's like, why keep going? Is, I think this fire, at least then, because if you just quit, and basically it's like sort of like if you do just quit, you don't exactly get to see what this life could have actually entailed and drawn some meaning from it. If you just quit, then it's done, right? You get zero from it. But just the slight chance that you might gain something is good enough. That you might just get close enough to this fire without burning yourself. That's enough of a chance. So that's why I think you should definitely just let yourself go into just trying to become great. Set those high standards, those big flipping goals, and just push forward for that. And no matter what the case may be, it's like there's no other choice really after this. It's like you either die trying to become great, or just Oh yeah, that's only to fucking yeah. Just you either die trying to become great. Actually, no, there is a third option. You either die trying to become great, you become great, or you just settle in just this fucking coldness and just let it freeze you to death. Yeah, burn to death, freeze to death, or light the fire on the torch. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and I think that's why you should seek out to become great. So if you've enjoyed or gained any value from this video, I will say like the video. It'll really help me, as well as subscribe if you want to see much more content. Leave a comment. I would really like to hear you guys' opinion about this as well. And that's pretty much it. You can do all things to Christ who strengthens you. And all love.